Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see everybody. Zoom changed stuff again. So now I can't get rid of the thing at the top. It keeps reappearing. So you're going to have to live with that. Yes, I know it's there. Don't raise your hand and say, hey, that thing at the top is there.
We can probably live with it.
Well, I can't. It drives me insane. So a lot to talk about today. There's a number of different things. I'm going to start out with this though. This is a story from my weekend. I'll bet you I had the more interesting weekend than anybody else in this room. On Saturday evening, I went to get gas in my car at the Sheets at the end of Hummelstown. And if you know anything where this is located, it is near Hershey Park. It's got a beer store next to it, liquor stores around this. There's all kinds of different things going on. So it's a really, really busy Sheets as far as gas pumps are concerned. So I waited in line. I had to wait 2 cars to get into. So I actually pull in, start pumping gas. And because of the way I am, I put the automatic thing on and I lean against my car and I'm just kind of daydreaming. And I look to my right and there's a drone right here. A drone. You just want it. Now, I've seen drones before, but never like right here hovering in front of me. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on?
You're on the dark web now, huh?
It must be. So I'm there for like 5-10 seconds, just looking at this thing. And I believe it has to have eyes because it's got. So I'm looking at this thing and it's not moving. And I'm thinking, am I the only one that sees this? So I go and just kind of walk toward it. And it just goes zoom and zooms away. And I'm thinking, all right, somebody's playing around. Yeah. So go back to my car. Gas is still going into my car. So I assume the position again, leaning up against the car. And 5 seconds later, it reappears. And I'm thinking, something's not right here. So I start talking to the thing. Now, who knows whether it can hear or not, or the person on the other end can hear this thing. I start talking to this thing. I said, listen, just leave. I was a little more animated than that. I said, leave. And it wouldn't budge. So I start taking it in as to what this thing is made of. And the whole thing is plastic. So I proceeded to pull my best Joe Frazier. For those of you that know Joe Frazier, I hit this thing so hard. This thing goes down for the count. It's laying next to my car, not moving at all. And I walk up to this thing and pounded it with my feet, literally just smashed it to 100 pieces.
We need to send the bail when they come and get you.
It gets better.
Oh.
So anyway, so I'm there as this thing is laying on the ground. Keep in mind, it is jam-packed at this place. And I'm looking around and this thing doesn't faze anybody. And I'm thinking, all right, well, so I get back in my car, start driving away. As I'm pulling out of the stall where the thing is, the owner of this thing approaches me.
Oh my God.
And says, what did you do? And I looked at him and I didn't quite associate him with the drone at this point in time. And then he said, you smashed my drone. And I looked at him and I said, you have got to be kidding. And he said, well, you can't do this. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. Drove off. By the way, I was getting pizza also. So pick up my pizza. I go home, sitting on my couch, eating pizza, watching, I forgot what it was. My Google Assistant kicks in. I'm getting a call from the Derry Township Police Department. So figured, they found me. I might as well pick this darn thing up. So I pick it up And the guy identifies himself and I could tell right away, he just absolutely was incredulous that whoever reported me, that this story was actually true. So he asked me a whole bunch of questions, you know, the basic ones first, you know, who you are, where do you live, were you at Sheets at this time? And I'm saying yes to everything. And he said, there's a gentleman here who claims that you took his drone and smashed it. And I said, well, the smashing part is correct. I didn't take his drone though. So he proceeds to tell me his side of the story, the officer. And I said, well, like 50% of what this person said is actually true. The other thing is, you know, he was invading my private space. So the officer thanked me and said, I need to, you know, if I need to get a statement from you, I'll, you know, call you in the future. So where's this story leading?
You sold my house.
Yeah. So, it all has to do with that up there, which is, we'll talk about it. It's the line over the hill. And I'll talk about this in case you've never heard of this speech. But it talks about brand new things that were on the horizon that nobody saw coming. And think about this, that experience that I had this weekend, would that have occurred 5 years ago? Maybe by the government trying to, but by a private citizen with a drone this far from my face, would that have occurred 5 years ago? And it got me thinking, you know, the way the world is going right now, this stuff is evolving so quickly. Okay. So that's my lead into the lion over the hill. So did anybody else have a more interesting weekend than me?
What else has happened? Is that it thus far?
Well, if I get yanked out of here by the police, James has agreed to finish the sales meeting.
So when we get the text from you, hey, Tammy, I'm in trouble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Donna, if you would take a basket and pass around the bail money, please, I'd appreciate it. So first up is Dan and James. I know Dan is, I think, at Centerville Road, and James has some things for us this morning. James, the microphone's right over there.
Sir. All right. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to talk about a couple new programs, and then I'm going to talk about like seller assist and things like that, since that's coming back, being more prevalent. So we have a couple first-time home buyer programs that that are going on right now. The first one, it's a first-time buyer advantage program. So it's for first-time home buyers, conventional mortgage. And what it is there's no pricing adjustments for credit score, loan to value, or loan amount. So we could, you know, run a rates on somebody that, you know, different loan amount, same credit score, things like that. We could get, you know, different rates. This kind of takes all of that out of it. So it really makes the pricing better for a first-time home buyer. There is a qualifying income with this. It's $90,200 in Lancaster County, but it's probably, I mean, I priced out some stuff with it and without it, and it's probably a good 3/8 up to a half point difference in rate with this program compared to just a regular, you know, conventional, you know, over that income limit loan. So it's something good that can help lower some rates for the first-time home buyers. The second one is the FLUB grant program that comes out every year around this time. First-time home buyers only. You can get a grant up to $12,500 with this. Now it's a prorated forgiveness over 5 years with this program, and it can be combined with any mortgage program. So the other one was conventional only. This one can go with anything. Now the qualification is subject to 80% of the area median income. Now it's going to be based on how many people are in the home as well. So I think the one person household's like 50 grand. So it's going to be geared towards more lower to kind of low moderate income. I think two person households like 57 grand, you know, So it's not going to help everybody, but for some of the lower income people, it can really be a big help. For us. Next thing is talking about seller assist. So first thing with seller assist, I want to touch on is interested party contributions. So interested parties, that's going to be sellers, realtors, lenders, builders. Those are going to be the interested parties in a transaction. And these are costs that are normally the responsibility of the purchaser that are made directly or indirectly by someone who has financial interest in the property. So, we just have to, there's certain guidelines and rules when it comes to interested parties and what they can and cannot provide. So if there's anything like that that's going on, you want to talk to us about it before we kind of get things into a contract and proceed as if we're going to be able to do that. It's going to differ by program. So kind of to go along with the seller assist, like I said, it's more prevalent now than it has been in the last couple of years. But with seller assist, conventional financing, if buyer's putting down 10% or less, it's going to be, less than 10%, it's going to be 3% maximum seller assist. That's all they can get. And then just below 25% down, up to 10% down, 6%, and then anything over 25% down, you get 9% seller assist. I don't know that that's really a thing. Like seller sees you're putting 25% down, but you want 9% in seller assist. I don't know if that's really going to happen, but whatever. And that's all on owner occupied properties. Anything that's investment properties, it's always going to be 2% maximum with seller assist. Okay. FHA, always going to be 6% maximum. VA, it's going to be 4% of the closing costs and points that they can get, plus 4% like sales concession. So it's really a total of 8%. It's a maximum for all VA loans. And then USDA is 6%. And then, closing costs, say the appraisal comes in high, they can actually roll in closing costs up to the appraised value of the home. So that's a nice thing as well. And then now, just some reminders with seller assist, they cannot be used towards down payment. It's going to be towards, closing costs, points, things like that. That's what's going to be what seller assist has to go towards. So like FHA, that 3.5% down has to come from them, gift or whatever. It can't go towards helping with the down payment. Now, anything that's paid out of closing, so inspections, for instance, we need to verify that it's been paid. They can't pay it in cash for us to use that seller assist towards those inspections. It needs to be either from a debit or bank card or a credit card. And then we need the statement showing that it was paid through that account. And then seller assist can go towards those inspections as well. So all I really have. What questions do you guys have on any of that?
First slide, first time buyer. Could it be someone who owned a home like 3 years ago?
Yes.
Who doesn't own a home?
Yep. The question was what qualifies as a first-time home buyer. So anybody that hasn't or been on title for a home in the last 3 years qualifies as a first-time home buyer. Yep. Anybody else? All right. Well, Dan, I thank you for all your support. We're looking forward to a solid 2023 and go Birds.
Thanks. Alexis is up next with Homesale settlement. She gave me instructions ahead of time.
Absolutely come along with me.
Hey, all, for you, any of you that don't know me, my name is Alexis. I process for Homesale Settlement Services for Sarah and for Don Watson now as well. I just wanted to do a quick reminder of some things now that the spring market is starting to heat up. Please remember to get social security numbers, the full social security number. I need to check everyone who buys and sells real estate in Pennsylvania to see if there's any outstanding child support or domestic relations. So that is just really important, or else I'm just going to be nagging you and calling and emailing. And if you want that, that's great. But if you don't, just if you can help me out there. Question, yeah.
Yeah, I typically don't want to see those numbers.
It-
So I
that's
really
okay.
had
That's fine.
Contacted my client.
That's fine. I will just send you an email if you want to forward that to your clients so they can call me. I don't mind if you just want to let them know who I am. And if they want to reach out to me directly, I have no problem with that. My email has my direct line on it. It's confidential, so they can always call or email me. Let's see, what else did I want to say? Oh, address on the agreement of sale. I know we've talked about this a million times. So for anyone who is a buyer's agent, please, please, please make sure that the correct physical address for the sellers is on the agreement of sale. What's happening is that I'm processing through files. I'm trying to get payoffs. I don't have correct information, or I have no information. Then I'm reaching out to the listing agent who's saying their clients never got any of our paperwork because the home that's being sold is vacant. The letters, the papers that are being mailed out are going to the vacant home, and no one's getting that information. So it's just really just timely, and it just really helps us be effective at our jobs as well. And I think that's all I have. Thanks.
I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of what she said in regard to the addresses. I understand it's not your client that you're worried about, but as the buyer's agent, I have a lot of listing agents that say, well, I didn't draw up the contract. That's why the address isn't there. I understand that you didn't draw up the contract, but my buyer's agent has no idea where your seller lives. So asking as the buyer's agent, just do a little due diligence and say to the listing agent, is the right address for your seller listed there? Because their listing agents are coming back and blaming buyer's agents or blaming title companies saying it didn't get to the right spot, even though they're not confirming the right information for their own client. And we don't want to have any delays in closing with getting paperwork back to order a payoff or something along those lines, because that's gone on. I do want to piggyback off of what James said a little bit about seller assist. As we start to see this a little bit more, you want to make sure, like what he said, in regard to having things paid by the credit card to be utilized for seller assist, a lot of lenders are going to ask for the proof of that. They're going to want an invoice that says paid to match up with some type of a credit card. So from a title company's perspective, we're going to need proof in our file that this was paid to reflect it on the closing disclosure properly so that the seller assist can be given. And I think you mentioned it can be appraisal and inspections, correct? What about homeowners insurance? Does that count or no? Sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no. That's why I'm asking. Do you want to check on that? And the reason I bring it up is as we get closer into this and we have more first-time home buyers and we have the seller assist, everyone's going to be trying to get the bare minimum. They're going to want to get just a 3.5% in on their client and use the seller assist towards anything else that they can. So the more proof that you have that you can provide, the better off the seller assist can be for your client. So just keep that paper trail for everything that they pay up front. And before they pay anything up front, again, check with your lender. If you have a client, you say, hey, James, it's seller assist. You want them to pay inspections, appraisal, what up front? Let him verify that so you don't have them overpaying for anything. But as these things come back around, you want to make sure that you communicate properly and get everything to the right parties. Oh, don't you have the next slide?
You'll come back up.
Oh, I'm coming back up.
Next up is
This is round
James.
one.
Next up is James, and James, I'll hand the mic to you.
Okay.
Joining us this morning also is Kathy Shepard. Kathy, you want to wave? Kathy heads up Homesale Insurance for those of you that have not met her. So go ahead, James.
Yep, Kathy will be helping me today with bring your policy to work today. If you brought it today, come on up. I'm on the second floor right across from the elevator. I'll be here on Friday morning as well too for the Super Bowl if today doesn't work for you. So that's basically I had today. Kathy said she wants to work hard today though. So
You can flip like that. Thank you, James and Kathy. Kathy, good seeing you. You may come back up again, Sarah.
Getting the steps in today. So James briefly mentioned the Super Bowl party that we're going to have on Friday. We just want to remind everybody to come. You don't need to bring anything to eat if you want to just show up and eat soup, but you are more than welcome to bring your favorite dessert or appetizer if you want to share that with everybody. What time do we have it from? Oh, 11:30 to 1:30 here in the training room. So everyone show up and go Steelers.
They're fishing right
If you haven't already done so and you plan to attend this, if you would just give a heads up to Marion or Janice that you're going to be here, that way we know approximately how many people will be here. So appreciate that. Thank you. I want to take a moment to talk about mortgage commitments. Mortgage commitments. I know the previous sales meeting, we talked about inspections. And some agents were like, I'm fairly new in the business. I don't even know what an inspection is, based upon the market that we've experienced over the last couple of weeks and months. We're now starting to see more agreements of sale that are attached to mortgages. And I'm also seeing some very, very innovative things regarding mortgage commitments, which I wanted to make sure that I'm passing on to you just so you are aware. Now, what I have reproduced up here, and I'll read this. What I have reproduced up here is the mortgage commitment or the mortgage commitment clause. There's actually three parts of it. So I want to take a moment just to pull out some words that you need to be aware of. First of all, it says seller may terminate this agreement after the commitment date by written notice to buyer if A, and this is underlined, seller does not receive a copy of the documentation. Then it goes on to expand upon that. The thing that you need to be aware of is keep track of these commitment dates. As I get problem transactions that come across my desk, a lot of times we'll talk about timeframes and things like that. And I'll look at the transaction and I'll see, oh, it looks like our commitment date was January 20th. Do you have the commitment letter? And the agent will say, what? They haven't received a commitment letter. They got a verbal from the other party that they got a commitment. I said, no, you need to have it in writing. So first of all, pay attention to this. Know what the commitment date is, put it in your calendar or however you keep track of this stuff. And when this is due, make sure you're getting a copy of the commitment to the other agent, or vice versa. If you're on the listing side, make sure you're getting a copy of the commitment, okay? Second part of this says, once again, number 2 up there is the same language. B says the documentation demonstrating the lender's conditional or outright approval of buyer's mortgage application does not satisfy the loan terms outlined in paragraph 8F. A lot of times, and James can probably back me up with this, somebody will go see James and they will be applying for mortgage type A. And during the processing of it, James runs into something that a buyer wasn't exactly truthful about, hard to believe. And James will say, well, we can still process this and we can still probably get it approved, but we got to switch gears. We got to go to another type of a loan, okay? It's very, very, very important that if you're on the buyer side of this, you get an addendum done immediately that says, we're going from type mortgage A to type mortgage B, and get that addendum signed by all parties, okay? It's very important. And the third part of this, says the documentation demonstrating the lender's conditional or outright approval of buyer's mortgage application, this is underlined, contains any condition not specified in this agreement that is not satisfied and or removed in writing by the mortgage lender within 7 days. So this is one that I just saw. Now, you can't read all this stuff, but I'm going to expand on some of the language here. But on the surface, looked like a great mortgage commitment. And agent put it into their file. And he shared it with me, and I'm looking at this thing going, this isn't a mortgage commitment. So let's look at the very top. This is what it said. This is a mortgage loan price commitment. a mortgage loan price commitment. In other words, they were saying, we're going to give you these terms. Here's another thing that it said. If, notice I circled that. If credit, employment, income, assets, property valuation, property condition, and title conditions meet lending guidelines, you will be approved. Really? What the heck is that? Basically, they haven't done anything yet. Okay. It looks like a pre-qualification, but what is it? It's a mortgage loan price commitment change. Here's what it said on the back side of this thing. Once again, signatures, everything looks really official. And you get all the way to the last sentence and it says the following. This commitment agreement does not constitute an approval of your loan request. So the bottom line with this stuff is read your commitments when you get them as a listing agent. And if you're getting one as a buyer's agent and forwarding it on to the listing agent, make sure you know what's in it. I mean, this thing was totally bogus. I mean, really bogus to the nth degree. Okay. By the way, this did not come from Homesale Mortgage.
Yeah.
Just to let you know.
Is it a local lender? I know you can tell us. Local, or is it like?
Internet?
I swear Univest.
You have heard of them. I'll
Okay.
put it at that. That's the reason why I have everything
Okay.
grayed out
Yeah.
here. And I don't want to pick on this lender because there's a lot of this stuff that goes on out there. Okay. The Peak Performer Award, this was sent out. We're tweaking this and changing this. One of the objections that we got from the agents who were receiving this or not receiving this award on a monthly basis was, you know, I sold 9 properties last month, but I didn't have anything that I gave to core services. So no insurance, no mortgage. The person was not considered a quote unquote peak performer. And the word peak performer, which is being marketed to the public, it sounds like the person who sold 9 properties last month wasn't doing anything. So I get it. And by the way, I'm not here to say don't use our core services. I'm just saying we're tweaking it a little bit, and you'll see in a second something else that we're doing. So here are the new guidelines. I'm not going to get into it. I'll have a handout that goes with the stuff that I send out that'll give you the specifics behind this. So peak performers in the future will deal with nothing except production. Has nothing to do with core services, okay? But we also would like to recognize those individuals that do use our core services. So we have created a Homesale Elite Award. This will be handed out on a quarterly basis. This is for individuals who achieve the Peak Performers Award during the 3 months that quarter. In addition to, they use our core services. Once again, all the parameters are there. I'll make sure you have copies of this so that you're aware of it. Just wanted to let you know, this has been tweaked at the end of last year. So this was effective as of January 1st. Okay.
Hey everyone, it's Amy from the Agent Services team. Today I want to talk to you briefly about a newer tool that has a lot of benefits for you as agents. The program is called SOCI and it is housed in the Berkshire Hathaway Resource Center. SOCI is a free combination auto posting tool mixed with a posting schedule system as well as a social media analytic platform. So not only does it provide automatic posting from Berkshire Hathaway with approved and branded generic real estate content, but it also allows you to schedule your own content months in advance. You could go in today and schedule all of your holiday posts for the entire year if you wanted. And for those who are really interested in tracking your social media engagement and analytics, this platform has a built-in 7-day insight reporting tool that gives you a look into how your posts and marketing strategy are doing. The reason I wanted to chat about this today is because one of the pieces of SOCI is a content library. This is where all of the Berkshire Hathaway branded posts come from that would get auto-posted to your pages. But going a step further, on the admin side of Homesale Realty, we have the ability to create our own content libraries that we can then share with you. So our plan is to create libraries with holiday posts, items of value, a collection of everyday real estate engagement posts that Anna puts in the social hub frequently, ask home sale blogs, and anything else that you would find valuable. We will be sharing more about this very soon, but for now, we wanted to make you all aware of this program so you can go in and connect your accounts and start browsing what's available to you. I put a link in the post that will direct you to training videos on how to log into SOCI for the first time and how to connect your accounts. SOCI does connect to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Google Business. So if you have any of those platforms, we highly recommend you connect them and get started. I will be sharing more videos talking about SOCI in general, walking you through some of the tools in it and how to find different elements, as well as answering some common questions very soon. But for now, log in, connect your accounts, and get familiar with the program. If you have any questions, email help@homesale.com. For everything else, stay tuned.
It's really easy to find. It's in the Berkshire Hathaway Resource Center. It's front and center as soon as you log in, so it's not real hard to find. A couple other things I wanted to make you aware of. Advertising enhancements. We have been using Chalk Digital for quite some time now, but we are now expanding that to the first 14 days of a listing, residential listing. That was effective as of, I think, February 1st. So I think it went into effect just this past week. We're also doing 2-day open house ads that will also run through Chalk Digital. And there's nothing that you have to pay for. This is all included with everything. A couple other things, and I mentioned this, I think 2 or 3 sales meetings ago. There are some subscriptions that you can get involved with. And by the way, everything that you see here on this slide and the slide that comes in after this, you can do yourself. All this material is there for you. You can hop on the various sites and do this for free, or you can pay a subscription, which is $10 a month, and somebody will do it for you. So the first one has 4 pop-by tags, a monthly item of value. It will be branded to you. The second one is a monthly branded postcard. Now, I should say this $10 a month does not cover printing and postage, but it does cover the layout of this that somebody will put together for you. So once again, these things are available to you as an agent for free, and you can get in there and spend the time doing it yourself, or you can say, listen, I'd just as soon have somebody do this for me. It's $10 a month, fairly simple. Virtual assistant also, I wanted to make you aware that we have more and more people that are starting to take advantage of this. It is kind of an a la carte type of program where if you need help in a specific area, you can just contact somebody and say, listen, I'd like you to do X for me. I'd like you to do Y for me. Okay, so that's available to you. And our full service agent websites. I just literally talked with a veteran agent in this office approximately 2 weeks ago. They were looking to have their website redone, not through us, looking to have their website redone and was looking for recommendations. And I said, well, have you checked our websites out? And they said, well, I didn't know we had websites. So I put it together here just to let you know we have websites. Okay. And our next Ninja installation is coming up in September. We had one over in fact, I think the last 2 have been in New York. So this one's down in the Maryland region. If you'd like to get involved with this, there'll be more information that's coming out soon. In addition, I've gotten some really good feedback. I know a number of people in this room have started to use Close or went to the original session of Close. There are other sessions that are coming up. I think we had 2 sessions here at North Point with Close. Both sessions, I know the first one was sold out, excuse me, not sold out, was basically maxed out. You didn't have to pay to get here. It was maxed out. The second one had, it was good gathering. We're moving them around to various offices. So the next one's in Elizabethtown and then Ephrata coming up on the 16th and 21st. And then once again, finally, quick buy training with the market that we're approaching right now. I believe there's going to be people that may not take advantage of this, but want to know more about it. If you've gotten to the point where, yeah, it was in the past, we kicked this off like 9 months ago, and you had no idea what it was, and you didn't think it was valuable at the time because everything was selling in one day. Things have changed a little bit. It might be time to get another bullet in your holster, get this under your belt so that you understand how this works. Okay, there's training coming up for that. And then finally, effective negotiating techniques. We have 3 agents who will be giving us their knowledge and their experience in negotiating. 2 of them are out of our Clarkview office, 1 is out of our School Called Haven office. It's an hour-long session. Once again, if you'd like to get involved with that, I will be providing links for you.
Is that a Zoom or in person?
That is a Zoom. Okay. I did put this out this past, I think 2 weeks ago. This gives you the market share for 2022. And once again, I will include this with the notes that I send out. I'll have it in PDF and PNG format. So you can either post it on social media, you can use it in your listing and buyer presentations. But once again, we had a really, really good year. You can see the top 10 real estate companies in Lancaster County right here. Okay. All right. So Berkshire Hathaway has undergone a rebranding. And a lot of people have mixed emotions when you start talking about rebranding. We'll talk about the reasons why they decided to rebrand. When I say they is us. This is what our logo looked like prior to the rebrand. And this is what it looks like now. You'll notice a couple different things. First of all, you may not be able to see it on this. The colors changed a little bit. Color is a little lighter than the old version. Kathy's got the old version on. Than the old version. You will also notice one of the bigger changes is the seal is gone. And we'll talk about that in a second. Now it's still around, but it's not part of the logo. As a matter of fact, their branding guidelines that they put it in, it's like 130 some pages, which I'll give to you guys, says don't put that little logo with this logo. It can be part of the area or part of the promotion, but they don't want it to be part of the logo, and we'll talk about that here coming up. But that's what it looks like. So why the rebrand? We live in a digital age. Just talked about the drone at the beginning of this meeting. That's certainly a digital item. More and more people are looking at things on that device that you see up there. In fact, it's more than 50% now. Access websites from a phone versus a laptop or something that's blown up on the screen like what Pointe has right here. Okay. That is hard to read. And that was one of the biggest reasons for a rebrand. That is much easier to read as a rebrand. Letters are separated, they're more block type. If you go back here, those little, I call them doohickeys on the end of a letter, that's called serif. That's hard to read when you get print that's this big. Everything kind of runs together. So they did away, everything is a block type letter. Okay, much easier to read. There are the logos. There's various versions of them. You will notice that the label or the seal is still there. It's part of it. But they, once again, they will tell you, do not put this next to this or next to that. They don't want that part of it. It can accentuate or highlight a page, but they don't want it next to it. Okay. There are 3 different colors: Cabernet, black, and white. We had those in the past also. They have expanded the color palette. So in the past, you had Cabernet, white, and black. And I think one kind of semi rebrand a couple of years ago used to have a tan also. Tan went away a long time ago. These are the colors that are in our traditional themes. Cabernet, white, espresso, that's actually a really, really deep brown. Earth, dove, pearl, rose, and blush. I didn't make up these words, by the way. I often think of who makes up all these color words. But those are the traditional themes. There are also other themes. The vibrant theme. You will see at the end that spruce is actually a dark green and cobalt. And there's a calm theme where they have sky and fern. Now, if you look at this stuff, when I looked at it initially, I was like, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite on board with the sky and the fern. If you go to the resource center now, Berkshire Hathaway Research Center, and get in there to some of the assets. Now, they didn't change things all overnight, but there are assets in there now that have been rebranded with these colors. It doesn't look bad. Thank God I didn't create it, but it doesn't look bad, okay? So there's more things to choose from. There's the new sign. Notice that the seal is gone, except it's all the way down here at the bottom. Okay? It's more of a block letter. Now, I will say this. This is the standard sign that came from Berkshire Hathaway. And they had like 5 or 6 standard signs. Our company is still looking at which one they want to use as the standard sign. So it may not look exactly like what you see here, but it'll be really close to that. Yes, Alexis.
Question, I've seen some Berkshire Hathaway signs that are square.
Hmm?
So they're just agents that are purchasing their own signs, or, I mean, it's like, I'm guessing they still have to have some type of logo or brand on them that, or color
Yeah.
scheme.
We have chosen as a company not to use the rectangular ones. There are some that are floating around out there. I've seen them myself, but we have really mentally made the decision to go with the dome because that's very distinctive.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Okay.
there are new fonts. Marcellus and who came up with Man Road? I will provide links for you. These are downloadable. The problem that we had with the old fonts, there were actually 2 old fonts. One was called Proxima Nova. I forget what the other one was called. If you wanted to, what was that? Yeah, woman. If you wanted to download them off the internet, they cost money. You had to pay to get those. These are free. You can download them off of Google. And once again, I'll provide the links for you. That's the business card. Once again, the standard business card. So here's some questions that I've already gotten. Do I have to change my business card signs and marketing material right away? The answer is no. There's no time frame here. Whenever you exhaust your supply of stuff, whatever that stuff is, when you go to reorder, you'll be reordering the new stuff. Okay. All our approved vendors won't be able to do this stuff. And when I say do this stuff, reproduce the old stuff. They're going to do the newer stuff. Okay. I like the old stuff. Will I be able to continue to order the old stuff in the future? No, you won't. Okay. Sounds like Nancy likes the old stuff.
I know, I always say, I have been 6 companies and I have never changed. companies, so this is no big deal.
Can I order the new stuff now? Yes, kind of. Berkshire Hathaway provided all this material to all the vendors, and we're providing it to you as the agents on January 31st. So everybody got it at the same time. So vendors are trying to update their websites as quickly as possible for you to order the new stuff. So if you do want to get in front of everything and order, let's say, new business cards or whatever, you may want to see if the vendor actually has everything up to date at this point in time. Ask the question. Okay. Yeah, Mark.
A lot of them are blowing out. If you want any old stuff, a lot of the vendors have huge sales on the old stuff, like 50 to 60% off, like the shirts, coats, expensive stuff, the little stuff, they're blowing them out like crazy right now.
Yeah. I know along that line, as soon as this came out, I got on our approved vendor list at the Berkshire Hathaway site because I wanted to get a polo shirt. Whoops, I probably hit my microphone. Wanted to get a polo shirt, and I had to go to 4 different websites in order to find one that had the new stuff there. So to Mark's question, yeah, I'm sure everybody was stuck with a lot of inventory at that point in time. Where can I get the new approved logos and fonts? The logos themselves you have right now in your Google account. They're in a shared drive under Homesale Agents logo and BHHS logos. So they're there for you to download. They're also there for you to download with the tagline where it says your world under one roof. Okay. And the fonts, as I just mentioned a second ago, they'll be provided for you for free. Is the luxury collection material going away? No, there's new logos for that also. So all of that is going to change in addition. They have new color schemes also. Any other questions, Mark?
Is Homesale going to change our core services logo fonts?
I don't know. I would imagine we're going to do something. I'm still getting a lot of this information in. I've asked a lot of these questions. Some of the questions that I've gotten from you, I've actually forwarded on to our corporate people, so they have that so that they can address it. And by the way, for anybody that's on Zoom right now, if I'm not getting to your question, please email me and I'll forward it on once again to our people. Okay. Once again, this just came down on January 31st. Right. Any question? Any other questions?
Did I understand you're going to email this presentation to us?
Hmm? Yep. Okay. So, the lion over the hill. For those of you that were in the real estate business in 1993, and I do remember this, our president, when I say our president, the NAR president, his name was William Chi, Bill Chi. He delivered a speech to the NAR membership that he got fried for. Literally, everybody was in arms. And what he said, and I'll get to portions of his speech, he was talking about the lion that was coming over the hill in 1993. That was 30 years ago. Anybody want to think about what the lion over the hill was 30 years ago? Technology. Part of it. Buyer agency wasn't there yet. We weren't there yet. Anything else? How about the internet? The internet he was talking about. And not only the internet, but the companies that were going to take advantage of the internet. Companies that were going to take advantage of the internet. Here's one line from his statement. We must consider some form of public access to the MLS data. We must encourage members to focus on the value-added nature of their business rather than being the provider of secret information. Sound familiar? Yeah. So way back in the day, Daryl remembers this, way back in the day, None of this stuff was available to anybody out there other than real estate agents who were realtors, who belong to an MLS. And Daryl probably remembers this, pre-internet days, we had those thermal paper things that it was like a fax machine, a mini fax machine, although it wasn't fax. And in order to pull up one listing, it took about 7 or 8 minutes because it was pushed through this device. What's that?
Dumb terminal.
Dumb terminal, yeah. But that's what it was. And we'd have these things and we would not share any of this with our clients. At least we weren't supposed to, except we all made copies of it, and gave it to our clients. Okay. But the client couldn't get anything unless they came to the agent. They could get nothing. Not one iota of information. And Bill Chi saw this coming. And he said, guys, if we think we're going to keep this all to ourselves, we're in dream world, in so many words. And everybody thought he was crazy. And why would we give away that information? Here's another line from his speech. I view the current MLS situation as a few chihuahuas fighting over a bone, unaware that a hungry lion is coming over the hill. And that's what it was like. We all had our own little MLSs. And by the way, you could fast forward to when Bright came into being, and all the people that didn't like Bright, we'll talk about that in a second, who didn't like Bright saying, we were all little chihuahuas saying, we want to keep our MLS because I like it. We don't need this big MLS. I wish Bill Chi was here today to see. Okay. So who was the lion in 1993 that he was talking about? Go back. Who was a threat to our industry in 1993? They're still around today. Nobody knew anything about Zillow at the time. Okay. Microsoft. Microsoft was the lion over the hill that Bill Chi was talking about that said, they're going to fry our butts if we don't do something. Now, Microsoft never really jumped into the real estate business with 2 feet into a pool because they found it a little more difficult than what they thought. Hard to believe. But something that they did do around that time that transformed a business was founded Expedia in 1996. And what happened to that industry because of that? That's what Bill Chi saw. He saw that if Microsoft puts all their eggs into a basket and gets all this data, they're going to put the real estate people out of business. Now, it never materialized. And a lot of people have tried doing this over the years, but once they discover how complex our business is, they are like, this wasn't what I thought it was. We're not the travel business. However, what's happened in the interim between the time that Bill Chi said this stuff and today? This is what happened. We have Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Movoto, Homes, HomeSnap, and thousands of others who have their paws in the real estate business. Okay? Who owns these companies? Zillow is publicly traded. Trulia, that's owned by Zillow. You see a common thread here? Realtor.com. A lot of agents think it's owned by us. A lot of the public think it's owned by us. It's owned by News Corp. Movoto is owned by Ojo Labs. If you've never heard of them, get used to it. Homes.com is now owned by CoStar. HomeSnap is now owned by CoStar. My question to you is, where anywhere here is a real estate agent or realtors involved? Nowhere. We don't have any control over this. And a lot of agents have said over the years, why is NAR sitting on their hands? Why are they allowing this to happen? Because NAR doesn't have the funds to do this. These people have deep pockets. Well, here's the lion that's coming over the hill now. And it's reversed. Issues with these third-party websites. I'm going to put up here 4 issues, and none of this is going to surprise you. In fact, it probably drives you insane as an agent. The lag between updates in the MLS listings and third-party sites leading to inaccurate data. You ever get a call from somebody who says, I saw this and it was reduced like a week ago and it's still got the old price? Okay. Sites often bury or misrepresent the listing agent. Hard to believe they do that, but they do. Increasing advertising costs. Anybody who bases their sole business, when I say sole business, on partnering up with a third-party website, you're in trouble. It should supplement what you're doing, okay? And the data that realtors provide is sold back to realtors. Expletive. I hear that one more. How can we just give this information away? Okay. After 30 years, this is about to kick off. Now, I think this is going to, this is my personal opinion. I think this is going to transform our industry over the next 2 to 3 years. So who is Nestle? Who is Nestle? And you say to yourself, I never even heard of this. You will. Nestle is us. 3 MLSs got together. 3 MLSs got together and created Nestle. The California Regional MLS, who has 110,000 members. That's a big MLS. Bright MLS has 104,000 members. And RE Colorado, which is the entire MLS of Colorado, has 26,000 members. You do the math, that's 240,000 members on 3 MLSs. The National Association of Realtors population right now is 1.5 million. That's 15% of NAR's population today. Think about that. You think there's other MLSs, and I'll share with you what Nestle is in a second. You think there's other MLSs that are looking at this after I show you what some of the benefits are, that are like, I'd like to be part of this too. Website is going to launch in the first quarter of this year. Not 3 years from today, the first quarter of this year. Okay. Consumers are the primary audience. This is not dedicated to advertising. It's not dedicated to making money. It's backed by 3 large MLSs who have members. Feeds from MLSs provide current listed and sold information in real time. In real time. desktop, mobile, and native iOS and Android app experiences. They've looked at the whole package. Provides leads directly to listing and buyer agents. And you say, how can they provide it to buyer agents? That sounds kind of. I had a conversation. We're very fortunate in our company. I had a conversation with Jim Stagnola. Jim sits on the Bright board. One of the people in our area that does. He's been on it for a number of years. And I had a conversation with him after I read about this news release. I said, Jim, how are you going to do this with buyer agents? Now, he didn't want to get into a great deal of detail, which I get, but I prodded him. And basically what you're going to be able to do as a buyer agent, I don't have all the details on this, but if Carol is a buyer that I'm working with, and I have a buyer agency contract with Carol, somewhere along the line, I'm going to be able to upload that into this system. So when Carol gets on Nestly and starts playing around and asking questions, instead of going to the listing agent, they will go to me. So anything that she clicks on, saying, I want more information, I want this, I want that, it's going to go to me. That doesn't happen today. Consumers can schedule showings and ask questions directly from the website to the listing agent or the buyer agent. So Carol, who's on the website clicking around, looking at properties, she says, how close is this to X? That question is going to go to me as her buyer agent. There are no ads on this website. Not one. There's no mortgage companies, no insurance companies. Sorry, guys. No title companies, nobody trying to sell you anything. There are no ads. And there's no cost for any of the leads. If you're a listing agent, everything's coming right to you. Now, do you think there's other MLSs that are looking at this saying, this isn't bad? Why are we selling our information to Zillow and Realtor.com and everybody else? Our membership's already upset with this, that we're in bed with these people. Does this give them a pretty good alternative? I would say so. Now, we don't have, and I say we because we are Nestly, we don't have the budget of a Zillow, of a Realtor.com. So this is going to start out as a grassroots effort, which is why I'm bringing it up today. Everybody in this room and everybody in this call, when you see this, we have to start spreading the word. And it will gradually build. If you have read the news release on this, Brian Dinelli, who is head of Bright, they're in conversations and negotiations with 20 other MLSs across the country like that. 20. That's what it's going to look like. That's what it's going to look like. You think Zillow's paying attention to this?
Once this launches, is there going to be a thought or ability to tell Zillow, we're not giving you our information anymore, we're keeping it here with this?
Okay. So James asked, once this is launched, how's, are we going to not give our information to Zillow, not give our information to Realtor.com, et cetera, et cetera? The answer to that is, I don't know. But here's what I do know. All these MLSs have deals with Zillow and Realtor.com and all the others. And they basically say, Zillow will say, I'll give you X amount of dollars, you give us all. At some point in time, somebody's going to reevaluate that when it comes up for renewal. And if a product like this is in existence and the membership in those MLSs say, I kind of like this, what do you think might happen? That's why I think there's a lot of nervous people in third-party portals right now, because this is going to get huge. And I wanted you to be aware of it because I think it flew under the radar. Okay. So when you hear about this and you see this, this is us. Promote it. Promote it. And this is my final thought for the day. You must always be able to predict what's next and then have the flexibility to evolve. This is by Mark Benioff, who owns Time magazine and also, oh gosh, it's terrible. It's Salesforce, created Salesforce, the website. Pretty smart guy. Yeah, James.
To answer the question from Sarah earlier, homeowners insurance can be paid by seller assist as long as it's paid at closing.
So
Just
there was a side note here. It was unknown as to whether property insurance could be picked up as part of the seller assist, and James has since found out it can be.
I go for home warranties as well.
what's that?
Home warranties as well.
Yeah, I think it works. That's how it's established.
So hope you got something out of this. Once again, if you see this coming down the pike, get used to it and see what you think. Okay.
Quick question, with no advertising and no fees, how are they funding this?
How do you think? How do you think?
There's only one funding source I can see, and that would be what we're paying.
Two. Two
So
funding.
what's the second?
The 20 other MLSs that we're talking to. In addition to the 20 after that and the 20 after that. So once again, when we start talking, go back to something I said earlier. NAR didn't have the resources to do this. They just didn't. And these are MLS companies. These are MLS companies. We pay dues to our MLS. People are saying, what am I getting from my MLS? I think you get a lot from Bright. That's my own personal opinion. I think you get a lot for what you get with Bright. This is going to give us more. This gives us a lot more. So, okay. Everybody have a great day.